going to talk about the status of the human rights situation in the United States of America, the land of notable distinctions, the military superpower, one of the most affluent countries on the planet, a place of many wealthy individuals, a place of charitable donations, and many more good things about it. However, very recently, a disturbing video went viral on social media. It was of a school in Texas. An affluent Indian American boy was seen being bullied in the cafeteria of the school by a white boy of his age. The white boy asked the Indian American boy to get up from his seat, which he refused. The next day, the white boy forcibly choked the Indian American boy for close to some seconds. He was slaughtered mercilessly. This is indeed disturbing. But more disturbing was the reaction of the other students around. They giggled. They take it normally. No one tries to intervene or even find it odd. Rather, the entire episode was clipped by someone amongst them and circulated in social media. The next thing is even more shocking. The action taken by the school. The school has suspended the Indian American boy. Just look at it. He has been suspended for 3 days. That innocent boy has been punished. The perpetrator, the bully, he has been suspended for 1 day. Innocent has been punished more severely. The perpetrator gets a lighter punishment. This is the justice system of United States of America. The bully boy was a white, and the other one an Asian and Indian American. White supremacy is a reality. In 2022, it's a reality. It is ingrained in the system. Bullying in schools is normalized. Justice system is partial. Minorities are treated badly. This is the reality of the country. A few days back, 4 or 5 days back, 10 people, all black, they were massacred in a mass shooting in a supermarket in Buffalo, New York. The gunman was a teenager, a 18-year-old boy. He came in military gear and he had a camera in his helmet and he live streamed the shooting. 11 people who were killed, they were black. The victims were black. 3 were wounded before he surrendered. This is disturbing. More disturbing is the motive. Look at him. He's a teenager. He live streamed the shooting. He was heavily armed. He spent months in his bedroom planning for it and preparing for this brutal, racist attack. He planned meticulously. He selected his gun and parts. Then he modified his rifle. carry more bullets. He said he would keep killing until death or confronted by police. And while he was shooting, over and over, he ranted racist remarks. He was ranting, white people are being replaced by being black and Latino. This is the reality. And in fact, yesterday only, the president of the country, Joe Biden, he had to accept it that white supremacy is a reality. Of course, he said that we cannot live with this is evil, and we must in fact do away with it. But this is something which is happening in that country which talks of democracy, which talks of human rights in the loudest voices. I present before you some of the findings of our report. And before that, I would let you know that how we have prepared it. Yes. Two writers. The first writer, Arvind Kumar, he is an Indian American. He has been working on the rights issues for the past decades. And we use the reports of international agencies, government departments, and other reports. So, some of the findings which I present here, they are that racial discrimination is deeply entrenched into the system. Even the Constitution, it has some of the provisions which are discriminatory. The clause, which is 3/5 clause, which says that Native Americans, their counting will be done not on equal basis, but they will be counted 3/4. So the fundamental principle of equality, it is not there. There is a clause which even today is there, which has not been done away with. It is the 3rd clause of the 4th article of USA Constitution, which says that the slave people and enslaved people, they will be a property and they can be, they should be returned back to the owner. And in spite of the fact that slavery is no more legal, that clause is there. Then the systemic issues are very important. Racism and corruption, they are entrenched in the legal system and judiciary. The law enforcement agencies, legal system, and judiciary have built up a reputation for corruption and racism. Racism is institutionalized in political parties. There are 2 parties, mainly 2 parties, and they are so hypocritical in their conviction to end racism. They have done nothing. They have not framed a comprehensive policy to eradicate it. Leaders of both the political parties, they have made racist remarks on multiple occasions, venting out their ingrained racism. Then minorities, their representation in media and academia, it is very less as compared to their population. Those minority members who are there in the system, they embrace the agenda of the white supremacy. qualified black candidates. Moreover, blacks and other minorities, they are used as pawns by organizations. Instead of treating blacks, Hispanics and Muslims as equals with respect, they are used as puppets by the white supremacist political establishment. They use intermediaries from each ethnic or religious group. Most of the black organizations, they are controlled by white. Poverty. We looked at the data of poverty. And again, the situation is very, very bad. There are certain affirmative action programs going on to help the minorities, to help the blacks. But they have found ways to not let the black people get that. Even the admission process through affirmative action, it is not transparent. They have added some more other categories to it so that the whites can get the advantage of it. Another thing, you will be surprised. There is one organization, Planned Parenthood. It is working in the black areas where the people of the black majority live, and forces the black women to get abortion. So, use of abortion to serve the black population. And then, the white savior complex, it is a reality to have a photo shoot by the celebrities with a black person and to get advantage of it. Appropriation of Native American culture. This too is a reality. Even today, segregation in churches, it happens. At one point of time, it was said that all Sundays from 11 to 12, they are the most segregated hours. Many pastors of black churches, they too are controlled by whites. The government labels disparaging terms for universities run by blacks. You can see the racism in immigration policy. Now coming to religious discrimination. It is so widely prevalent, yet very less talked about discrimination in the USA. Religious minorities, particularly non-Abrahamic religions like Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, and Jains, they face discrimination. They have a zoning law. So zoning laws are used to deny Hindus and Buddhists to construct places of worship. The politicians, they have attacked holy symbols of Hindus, Jains and Buddhists. Politicians have been trying with the government to criminalize the use of swastika. A bill was brought to declare the swastika as a symbol of hate. Can you think about it, that this is happening in the US? Now coming to the curriculum, school curriculum. It indoctrinates students by teaching biblical miracles as history. And it also teaches students to discriminate against Hindus. I am quoting, in California, the 6th and 7th grade history curriculum, it requires students to learn that miraculous events in the Bible were actual historical events. In contrast, Hinduism is singled out for hostile treatment in the textbook, and Hindu beliefs are ridiculed, like Hanuman and monkey and other things that are there. We have quoted it in our report, and we will be sharing the soft copy, and we have some of the hard copies as well. So you can see for yourself. Sorry, I don't want. Minority Buddhists and Hindu temples and mosques in USA, they face routine violent attacks. And now I come to ethnic discrimination against indigenous people, the Native Americans. If any biological war did happen against anybody on this planet, it was against the Red Indians, the Native Americans, the white supremacists who had gone from Europe. They used all possible ways to eliminate them. And there is that estimate that 90% of the population of Red Indians at that point of time was just eliminated within some time. Now, even today, the ownership of land of Native Americans is not with them. It is with the federal government. The US government keeps Native Americans in poverty by not allowing them to manage their own land. Federal government is in charge. And this has been going on since 1831. Where the judgment of the court had come, wherein the federal government was made the guardian and the indigenous people the ward. So that kind of relationship between the government and the people of American origin, it was made. They have made many efforts, but till date, their struggle continues. And the situation again is continues. We looked at the data. Native Americans had their income 68% below than the USA average. 20% of the households were earning less than $5,000 annually, which is, if we compare it to the national average, this is just 6%. The rate of women is 2.5% higher than the national average. Child abuse rate, it is double. The identity of Native Americans has been appropriated by white politicians for their own advantage. Now coming to gender discrimination and violence, I feel lucky that I was born in India. I was going through the data. The way women are mistreated. There was a data which we went through. School-going girls. From the standard of 7 to 12, there was a survey, and almost half of them, 46% of them, in that survey, they had gone through some kind of sexual harassment or some kind of sexual. That is the reality. Sexual exploitation. It is normalized in schools and universities. I as an Indian cannot think of it. Look at the data. It is so high. 48% students, as I said, that they face some kind of sexual harassment in 1 year, that year of study. The study was conducted on around 2000. Campus rape rate in that particular survey was around 19%. Same way, pregnancy, teen pregnancy, look at the data. The men in power, they sexually exploit women. It's a matter of great concern. Statistics show that nearly 1 in every 5 American women has been the victim of rape or attempted rape. These political names, they have figured in sexual exploitation cases, including the president of the country. Women are treated as inferior, even by the American media and the government. And another thing, women and feminist organizations, they are controlled by men, some of them, some prominent of them. Some of them have been used by the American government to advance their political agenda. I give one example. It's a well-known fact that the feminist icon of the 1960s and 70s, Gloria Steinem, was in fact a CIA agent. Sexual abuse of children. As per a report in 2014, there are an estimated 42 million survivors of child sexual abuse in the United States of America. It is so rampant among government officials and powerful politicians. But such abuse is either covered up or the perpetrators are left off with life sentence. Domestic violence. Again, that data is huge. Gender discrimination at the workplace. As per a study, 42% of working women say they have experienced gender discrimination at the workplace. And 25% working women were paid less wages as compared to men for the same work. Now I come to democracy. A lot is talked about the democracy in America. There is no democracy there. Democracy is there in name, not in action. Democratic processes are not available to everyone. Election processes, they are controlled and rigged by government as well as political parties. Political parties manipulate electoral rolls. Many types of election fraud are rampant. You will be surprised that everyone there, all the citizens, do not have a voter identity card. And whenever there is a talk about getting a voter identity card made for everyone, the political parties, they come in. They stand against getting it done. And another thing, you will be surprised, because they have the ballot system. I can give you many examples. Then counting is going on. And then suddenly, when they realize that the party candidate is losing, so some bag full of ballots is found. And it has not happened once or twice, at multiple times. So that discovery of uncounted votes, ballots, it is found at many occasions. Then, they, at the initial level when they have the voting, they follow that procedures of yes and no and no. I have it. And there are videos which show that they have, in 2-3 videos which I saw, that there was a teleprompter. They had a pre-decided script and they had to read it out. Whether there was no or yes, they had to say yes or it was yes. That kind of Democrats or those who are not Republicans, where do they go? So their views are suppressed. If anyone who deviates from the two approved political positions and they want to articulate their own views and aspirations, they are excluded in participating in politics, and they are branded as extremists by the establishment which consists of the government, the universities, the media, and the other institutions. So this official sanctioning for the two-party system, it subjugates more than half the population of the United States of America who does not identify as either Democrats or Republicans. Voting rights of Blacks, Hispanics, and other minorities are suppressed. As I said, the political parties in the USA, they have resisted all efforts to provide voter identification cards to Black American citizens. So it's a big fraud. Systemic irregularities in the voting system of several states in the United States of America. So, as a result, European white supremacists, that political power, it still subjugates blacks. State officials at multiple occasions have indulged in the intimidation of candidates. After the year 2000, 1,300 cases of voter fraud, they occurred. Now I come to another point. USA interfering into the at the international level and creating humanitarian crisis in many countries. You give a help to refugees, but you create refugees by creating wars. There is a survey which says, Washington Institute for International and Public Affairs survey which says that a total of 9.2 million displaced people as a result of the American war on Iraq. They were there. In Afghanistan, 5.9 million people. In Somalia, 4.3 million people. In Yemen, 4.6 million people. In Libya, 1.2 million people. In Syria, 7.1 million people. Overall foreign policy of USA is racist in nature. USA wants to control all the resources of the world, all the politics of the world, and control the opinion of everybody in the world. This is achieved through various means, including persuasion, inducement, creation of strife, and use of force. Now coming to NATO. USA has maneuvered affairs of other countries through NATO. NATO works as a pawn in spreading conflict and violence in many countries. If I take the case of Afghanistan, 241,000 people were killed in the Afghan war, which includes 71,000 civilians. That war was initiated by the USA using the false pretext that the war was in response to the terrorist attack against the USA on 11 September. None of the terrorists on the Twin Towers, they were not Afghans. Taliban regime in Afghanistan itself with its creation of the US government. The number of deaths between 1990 and 2000 is estimated to be 1,000,000,060. The takeover by Taliban has precipitated yet another humanitarian crisis with 3.5 million Afghans internally displaced within Afghanistan and another 2.2 million refugees. Take the case of former Yugoslavia. The US is responsible for creating a civil war in the former Yugoslavia by exploiting religious divisions and then relentlessly bombing Belgrade in 1999, creating a massive refugee problem. At least 130,000 people lost their lives in the war with former Yugoslavia. Iraq in 2003. This war was fought against two falsehoods. One was that the war was retaliation against the terrorist attack on the US, and second was that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction, which never was in fact found. Syria. It is estimated that at least 350,000 people had died in Syria as a result of the war. Ukraine. 5.7 million refugees leaving their homes and going to other countries. 6.5 million are displaced. So this war too, it owes to somewhat to that expansion of the NATO issue. Religious war of the US State Department. There is a tool which is used, United States Commission on International Religious Freedom, which uses religious texts while hiring its personnel and use the word through the lens of religion. Routine bombing of Shia Muslim countries. Targeted assassinations by the US government. Chemical and biological warfare. There's a report in the New York Post. The United States has been complicit in funding the Wuhan Institute of Virology's research on the coronavirus, which leads from a lab in Wuhan. As for the media reports, the US government has also been funding secret biological warfare labs in Ukraine. The United States also violated the 1925 Geneva Protocol, where it helped the Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein get chemical weapons that were used against food. And you can see the situation now with Yazidi women. It is a creation of that very war. In its war against Yugoslavia, the United States of America also used depleted uranium against the people of Serbia. To talk of free speech, freedom of expression, free press. Think that America, United States of America, has all that. Very recently, the government has created a disinformation government board. Free speech rights, they are suppressed in the universities. Government colludes with USA media and interference in the media of other countries. If you remember, from 2001 to 2010, more than 250,000 cables were released by BBC relating to the USA State Department, which throw light on various aspects of the USA diplomacy and government work. The media has been forced to routinely indulge in censorship when it involves the crimes committed by government officials. Internet control. Yes, USA has indulged in online surveillance from the earliest days of the internet. It has also made false accusations of surveillance by other countries, where USA does it. I mean, it is done there only. USA has even used proxies in the media and non-profit sector to make such false accusations in an effort to shift the blame for its own actions to other countries. I give an example. The FBI implemented a surveillance software which was called Carnivore in 1997. And when it was exposed and resulted in major controversy in the media, it merely changed the name of the surveillance software. Barack Obama administration, there was much about it in the media also that administration abused its power and snooped upon Obama's political opponents. The USA uses the academia to advance its political agenda. The National Defense Education Act, which was enacted in 1958, it resulted in the government providing massive funding to educational institutions. As a result, American universities, they have lost their freedom and have become subservient to the interests of the US government policy. American universities, they continue to be the main entities that support the US state government and its propaganda. Economic control over other countries using illegitimate means. USA has been manipulating economies of other countries in multiple ways. I'll give you a few examples. Climate change, it has been used as a kind of tool. By imposing the climate agenda, specifically insisting that 1990 and 2005 be the baseline years to measure the acceptable level of pollution by each country. It is nothing but a system of international license arbitrage, with the US and the EU in charge of selling the pollution licenses. A new global financial system has been created. USA has set into motion an effort to lobby and pressure other countries to join new global financial system. Apart from climate change policies and lobbying for the new financial system, the US government also lobbying on behalf of corporations like Monsanto. Now, it is there. Then use of international organizations as American agencies, misuse of International Monetary Fund, World Bank, because they were created in such a manner that they grant an edge to the United States and its allies over control of the global economy. The US dollar was made the global reserve currency, giving an unfair advantage to the USA, which is nothing but economic imperialism. And now, COVID-19 and how the lives of people they were risked. USA is one of the most developed countries. It has advanced medical infrastructure, but due to the mismanagement at all the government levels, the pandemic had a devastating impact on the USA population. In September 2020, the number of people with confirmed infection, there were almost 25% of the world's infections, whereas its population is only 4% of the world population. So, in spite of the big medical resources and infrastructure, including expert human resources, due to the mismanagement, the coronavirus could not be controlled. Many experts are of the view that much went wrong with the USA's response to the pandemic, and it was was preventable. Whereas the countries with lesser resources, India, Thailand, South Korea, Australia, they could bend the curve downward due to decisive steps taken by their government. Now, on the one hand is mismanagement, and on the other hand is discrimination during the COVID pandemic. COVID deaths in USA, they are proportionately not equal to the population. They have affected the Black and the Hispanics the most. The fatalities of Black, Hispanic, Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islanders represented a higher share as compared to their share of the total population, even outside nursing homes. While Hispanics are 18% of the population, the share of death was 24%. Similarly, the segments which I have mentioned. And another thing that the US government did was, of course, it was utter disregard to the human life. Yet on the other hand, the American oligarchs made money out of the pandemic. There are so many issues I can talk about them. We have written, but I thought I would make a mention of some of them. We will be sharing the report with you. The link of the report will be uploaded on our website. Already uploaded on the website. So I think that is what we have to tell. Sometimes perceptions are entirely different. We think, okay, the developed countries, they must be high on the human rights issues, on the human rights front. But this is a myth when it comes to the United States of America. After doing this report, I'm actually very disturbed. I never realized that the problems were so ingrained, so deep. Every country has a problem. But the country which talks of human rights in the loudest terms, the country which raises fingers at every instance that other countries, they must look at their own backyard. What has happened to their Native people? What has happened to their Black people? What has happened to their women, their children? It is pitiable. And as a human rights defender and belonging to a human rights organization, I'm actually disturbed after working on USA human rights status. If you have any questions, you can have any interaction, you can ask me. The report is with me. Even whatever I have said, all is database. We have given around 40 pages of resources which we have taken, and the sources which we have used, they have been given at the end of the report. 40 pages of that. I have not said anything as my opinion. Everything is fact-based, database. So you can go ahead with any questions you have. Shall I make there or shall I answer from here only? Okay. The way you want.
You can get a mic and you can ask the question. You can get a mic and you can ask the question. Roving mic. Sorry? No, mic.
आप हिंदी में अंग्रेजी में जैसे चाहेंगे आप बोल सकते हैं।
I have a mic, I'll ask the question. Mic to you.
मैडम आपकी जो रिपोर्ट दी कोई आपने पेपर प्रोवाइड नहीं करा
जी मैम,
आपकी जो है इसके लिए तो ऑथेंटिसिटी कैसे क्रॉस चेक करेंगे क्योंकि आपने जो रखे हैं अपने वो क्यों है
मैम हमने जो मैम आप अपना थोड़ा बता दें क्या कहना जी। मैम जो हमारी रिपोर्ट है कि जो आपको पेजेस प्रोवाइड किए गए थे ये खाली पॉइंटर्स है, बाकी ये जो मेन रिपोर्ट है 140 पेज की है और ये पूरी की पूरी रिपोर्ट कुछ हमारे पास कॉपीज अवेलेबल भी है और हार्ड कॉपी भी है और कुछ हम आपको लिंक को हम सबको प्रोवाइड करते हैं, वेबसाइट पर अवेलेबल है। पूरा का पूरा उसमें दिया हुआ है कि कौन सा हमने डेटा यूज किया है, कौन सा फैक्ट यूज किए हैं, तो उसकी मुझे लगता है कोई दिक्कत नहीं होनी चाहिए, सारा कुछ अवेलेबल है जी। मैम इसकी माइक
आगे आ जाओ ना, आगे आ जाओ।
In the complete scenario, what scenario? USA is a country, human rights committee के लिए आप कर रही हैं, ये बताइए इसका महत्व क्या है, इसकी मूल्यांकन कैसे करें इसका, ये बताइए आप।
हमने तैयार की है और इसको बिल्कुल अकादमिक आधार पर हमने तैयार किया है। हमने वहाँ के लोगों से बात की है, स्टेक होल्डर से बात की है, इंटरव्यूज किए हैं, हमने स्टेट की जो वेबसाइट पे डेटा को यूज किया है, तो कोई भी करे चैलेंज हम जवाब देने के लिए तैयार है। एक एक बात का मैं जवाब दे सकती हूँ, तो इसको कौन कैसे लेगा, हम कहते हैं कि आप इस रिपोर्ट को पढ़िए और क्वेश्चन करिए हमसे। हमारी वेबसाइट भी इंटरैक्टिव है और आप हमारे से ईमेल से संपर्क कर सकते हैं रिपोर्ट पढ़ने के बाद, या आप हमें किसी भी फोरम पर चैलेंज कर सकते हैं, मैं आप वहाँ आकर जवाब देने के लिए तैयार।
तीसरा प्रश्न, आपने कुछ प्रमुख बातों का तो जिक्र किया है, अन्य बातें क्या जो आपके एलोकेट रिपोर्ट है उसमें की गई, अन्य बातें प्रमुख बातों का जिक्र है आपकी रिलीज में, क्या अन्य बातों का जो जिक्र है वो कहाँ है, वो आपकी बड़ी रिपोर्ट में
जी
एलोकेट रिपोर्ट में
जी, जो 140 पेज की इलैबोरेटेड रिपोर्ट है उसमें सब कुछ है। बाकी ये सबको पूरा इस तरह से पेज निकाल के देना, प्रिंट आउट हमें लगा कि हाईलाइट कम से कम सबको प्रोवाइड करा दे ताकि आपके पास हैंडी डेटा हो या हैंडी फैक्ट्स हो, ताकि आप अपनी रिपोर्टिंग में उसको यूज कर सकें। बाकी मैंने कहा कि अभी तुरंत आप हाथों हाथ चेक कर सकते हैं, पूरा वेरीफाई कर सकते हैं।
आपको बनाने में कितना समय लगा, हमें पढ़ने में भी उतना ही समय लगेगा ना, आप जानिए ना इस बात को, आप प्रैक्टिकल आपने प्रैक्टिकल किया है सारा कार्य, इस प्रैक्टिकल को अंजाम देने में कुछ वक्त तो लगेगा ना।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल वक्त लगेगा, उसको चीजें ठीक होने में तो पता नहीं कितना समय लगेगा, सदियां नहीं करते।
थैंक यू सो मच, आप डूइंग टू वेल, थैंक यू, हैव अ ग्रेट डे।
Myself, Urvashi Puna from Newsdesk and India News. First of all, because we all are, daily quick agenda guide on in English and Hindi. What are your findings and in short today? Findings seem to be carried better with the preparation, right? What are those? Agar aap Hindi or English mein 5 days ahead, so I would like to go ahead and do it. Sure. After I have answered everyone, I can give you that. अभी कर लीजिए ना, ये important है सारे जानने के लिए। अच्छा ना भाई दे दीजिए, फिर आपको जो
I'll take the question. Yes. मैं तो क्वेश्चन पूछूंगा, मैं सारा आंसर कर दीजिए मैडम के पास। Yeah. My name is Sanjay Agarwal. So I represent News 24/7 in the portal. USA Human Rights Report Release Program. As we understand it, तो इंडिया से तो वी आर नॉट कंसर्न। इंडियंस का क्या नुकसान हो रहा है वहाँ पे, मोदी जी जा रहे हैं, एवरीथिंग इज वेरी गुड, मीन्स इंडियंस आर नॉट कंप्लेनिंग। ही वाज रिसेंटली इन वेरियस कंट्रीज एंड व्हेनेवर ही इज गोइंग टू ओवरसीज, सो ही इज गेटिंग अ वार्म वेलकम एंड देयर इज नो कंप्लेंट। व्हेन यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट ब्लैक्स, सो ब्लैक्स द कम्युनिटी, दे आर इनटू लॉट ऑफ क्राइम्स, दे आर इनटू अंडरवर्ल्ड क्राइम्स. Even the whites are into the crimes. We have fraud busters, we have so many things. So we understand India-US relationship, or we understand United Nations, or today we are talking about Ukraine, Russia wars, and NATO, so everything. So is this report coming for any particular reason at this point of time? And I don't understand, means if we are not happy with US, the why इंडिया में हम लोग अपनी कम्युनिटी में एक दूसरे के दुश्मन हैं. So essentially this report has it been published in the US? Has it got any legal sanction at the US UN levels?
Yes, please. सबसे पहली बात तो मैं बिल्कुल स्पष्ट कर दूं कि हमारा किसी सरकार से कोई लेना देना नहीं है. मोदी जी कहाँ जा रहे हैं या भारत कहाँ क्या कर रहा है, भारत की फॉरेन पॉलिसी क्या है, यूएसए की फॉरेन पॉलिसी क्या है, उसका हमें कोई मतलब नहीं है. हम एक मानवाधिकार संस्था हैं और एक मानवाधिकार संस्था होने के नाते हमने ये अध्ययन किया है और उसके आधार पर अपनी जो हमारी फाइंडिंग्स है उसको हमने लोगों के सामने रखा है. हम कोई ऐसी एजेंसी नहीं है कि बहुत प्रभाव ला सके. हम तो इतना ही कह सकते हैं कि मीडिया में लाके सच्चाई लोगों के सामने रखें. बाकी सरकारों को करना है जो कुछ करना है. लोग मोदी जी के जाने से खुश है या नहीं खुश है वो हमारा बिल्कुल स्टडी का एरिया नहीं है. और हमने पहले 7 देशों का अध्ययन किया है. ये हमारी 8वीं रिपोर्ट है. तो हमने यूएसए में नहीं क्यों किया या हमारे को यूएसए सरकार की कोई वहां से सैंक्शन लेना पड़ा, परमिशन लेना पड़ा, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. हम तो एक जैसे एक रिसर्चर होते हैं, अध्ययन करते हैं. हमारी टीम एकेडमिशियंस की है, मीडिया पर्सन की है, हमारे पास लॉयर्स लोग हैं, जजेस हैं, हमारा नेटवर्क है सभी इन देशों में जहां हमने काम किया है. और हम सच्चाई लोगों के सामने सिर्फ और सिर्फ मानवाधिकार के पर्सपेक्टिव से रखना चाहते हैं और वही हमारी कोशिश रही है. उसको अगर सरकारें कोई इस्तेमाल करें तो हमें कोई उससे फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. लेकिन हम सरकारों के लिए ना तो काम कर रहे हैं और ना हमारी उनके प्रति कोई जवाब देती है और ना हमारा कोई फॉरेन पॉलिसी से लेना है.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ma'am. This is Shivani Thakur from Sudarshan University. Hi, and all what facts you presented there is really surprising क्योंकि भारत में हम अमेरिका की तरफ बहुत इस तरह से देखते हैं कि वो अमेरिका है. उसमें से जब तीन फैक्ट के बारे में आप बात कर रही थी, सेक्सुअल अब्यूज जो वहाँ पे वुमेन फेस करती हैं, स्पेशली टीनेजर गर्ल्स इन स्कूल, वो बहुत सरप्राइजिंग था कि अमेरिका में भी ऐसा होता है. लेकिन भारत जो खुद महिलाओं के लिए सबसे असुरक्षित देशों में से एक है, यहाँ पे ऐसा एक अध्ययन पेश जब हम करते हैं, आपको लगता है हमारी सोसाइटी इतनी तरीके से इस बात को अपोज कर सके कि ये जो ह्यूमन राइट्स जो आपकी जो संस्था है, ये जो बात यहाँ रख रही है, हम उस काबिल हैं, हमारे पास है वो खुद में वो अधिकार कि हम यूएसए को क्वेश्चन करें जबकि हमारे यहाँ पर सिचुएशन इतनी खराब है.
मैं मानती हूँ कि महिलाओं को लेकर हमारे यहाँ पर स्थिति अच्छी नहीं है, लेकिन फिर भी मैं कहूँगी कि आप तथ्यों के आधार पर इसका विश्लेषण करिए. सिर्फ परसेप्शन से मत जाइए, डेटा को देखिए. जब आप डेटा को देखेंगे तो आपको लगेगा कि शुक्र है कि भारत में स्थिति बहुत हद तक ठीक है. जी, जो महिलाओं की स्थिति है हमारे यहाँ पर कैसे हुए हैं और हम लोग खुलकर उसका विरोध करते हैं. मैं एक और सर्वे को पढ़ रही थी वहाँ का, जो मैंने बताया था कि 7वीं से 12वीं क्लास के बच्चों का था सर्वे, और उसमें वो मतलब इतना नॉर्मलाइज किया गया है कि वो लड़का ही जैसे कहता है कि आई विल रेप यू, और उसको पुश करके बाथरूम की दीवार के साथ और अपना हाथ उसके ब्लाउज में डाल देता है. और कितनी वहां पर सुसाइड होती है, कितने ट्रॉमा, प्रेगनेंसी स्कूल्स में. ये डेटा हम चौंकाने वाले नहीं है. और भारत में समस्या है या किसी और देश में समस्या है इसलिए यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका की बात न की जाए, ये तो कोई मुझे लॉजिक ठीक लगता नहीं. एक ह्यूमन राइट्स संस्था को जहां पर भी वायलेशन हो रहा है वहां पर बात करनी चाहिए, वो चाहे भारत हो, वो चाहे अमेरिका हो या कोई और देश हो. कल को हम करेंगे, हम इंग्लैंड की भी करेंगे, फ्रांस की भी करेंगे, चाइना की भी करेंगे, सबकी करेंगे जहां जहां वायलेशन. तो हमें इस तरह से भेद करने की जरूरत नहीं है कि वो तो बड़े लोग हैं, उनके बारे में कुछ नहीं कहना।
और मेरा अगला सवाल आपसे उस बात में था जब आप बिब्लिकल हिस्ट्री के बारे में बात कर रही थी कि मिरेकल्स बिब्लिकल इवेंट को वो लोग हिस्ट्री बता रहे हैं और दूसरे दिन हम कॉलेज में पढ़ा रहे हैं। टेम्पल्स अटैक की बात की गई अपने आपके जो कल व्याख्यान है। मैम आप बता सकती हैं कि ये जो डेटा है वुमेन रेप, इसके अलावा ये बिब्लिकल मिरेकल्स को हिस्ट्री से जोड़कर तथ्य की तरह पढ़ाना, आपका यूएसए में इस रिपोर्ट का प्रभाव होगा? आपके पास कोई पैकिंग वहाँ पे है जो आपके रिसर्च को वहाँ पे एनकोड करे, लाइक इन द गवर्नमेंट और एनी ह्यूमन राइट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन देयर इन अमेरिका?
हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि अपनी रिपोर्ट को जिन भी ह्यूमन राइट्स के जो एक्टिविस्ट हैं, जिनकी ईमेल आईडी हमें मिलेंगे, हम उन तक अपनी रिपोर्ट साझा करें। और पहले भी हम बीच में इंटरव्यू कई बार करते रहते हैं। कई बार जैसे अफगानिस्तान का इशू आया तो हमारी संस्था ने यूनाइटेड नेशंस को लिखा था। तो इसी तरह से हम अपना प्रयास करेंगे, लेकिन हम नई संस्था में कितना प्रभाव कर पाएंगे मैं कुछ नहीं कह सकती। लेकिन हमारे यहाँ पर जो एक सिद्धांत है कि हम अपना काम कर रहे हैं, उसके प्रभाव को हम नहीं देख रहे, कितना हो पाएगा या नहीं। और प्रभाव नहीं होगा इसलिए काम ना करें तो वो भी ठीक नहीं है। तो प्रभाव तो समय बताएगा और आप लोगों के माध्यम से प्रभाव भी होगा। सबसे बड़ी ताकत यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स की मीडिया है और आज अगर हमारा मीडिया इन सब बातों को उठाएगा, अगर आप सब लोग इस बात पर अच्छे से उठाएंगे तो मुझे लगता है कि ये बात यूएसए तक पहुंचेगी, बहुत जल्दी पहुंचेगी और उसको सोचना पड़ेगा कि अपने घर को ठीक करना। थैंक यू सो मच।
When you were talking about the president of USA and India में character like somebody, some politician, they are not accepting, and US presidents have accepted about their sexual misconduct, and they have also been they've got off the board. So आपकी जो report है, it seems a very biased towards US, and I have seen your other आपका जो नेपाल, बांग्लादेश, पाकिस्तान, and also the Tibetan administrator has mentioned in your brochure that these agencies were publishing these reports, so they are being funded. I'm not alleging anything. You already clarified your position. You are doing your job, but see, we are not machines. Human intelligence से काम कर रहे हैं हम लोग यहाँ बैठे हैं. We can't just take everything as per your view. It has to be. So आपकी जो report is very good, it's very nice. I've been following India. आपने इंडिया की रिपोर्ट नहीं करी है. As she has said कि इंडिया में जो अत्याचार
नहीं, आपने काम नहीं किया क्योंकि हमारे
इंडियन फर्स्ट आप लोग इंडिया के हैं. So आप लोग की रिपोर्ट पाकिस्तान में कर रहे हैं. आप जाके पाकिस्तान, इंडिया के 4 यहाँ हैं, श्रीलंका, बांग्लादेश, पाकिस्तान. Who is caring? इंडिया अपनी पोजीशन just to keep the जो political powers है वो गरीब देशों को इंडिया wants to do supremacy. जो इंडिया इनके ऊपर दिखा रहा है, आपको भी उनके रिपोर्ट्स they have no meaning. If you want to do a report, do it on India first. अपने घर में छाप के देखें आप पहले, then go beyond.
हर संस्था का अपना मैंडेट होता है, अपना विजन होता है और दुनिया भर में कितनी समस्याएं हैं, हम सबसे ऊपर काम नहीं कर सकते। भारत में कई संस्थाएं मानवाधिकार के विषयों में काम कर रही हैं और हमें लगा कि अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर भारत की कोई संस्था काम नहीं कर रही है, तो हमने अपने लिए ये एक स्कोप चुना कि हम इंटरनेशनल ह्यूमन राइट्स वायलेशन की बात करेंगे और हम अपने मैंडेट के अनुसार काम कर रहे हैं। तो और अभी हमने शुरुआत की है, आज 4 देशों की है, तब तो और भी करेंगे। तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, भारत को हमने अपने मैंडेट में नहीं लिया और संस्थाएं कर रही है, हम भारत से बाहर काम कर रहे हैं, इसमें मुझे कोई बताने में शर्म नहीं। और मैं या हमारी संस्था सारा काम एक ही संस्था करने की जरूरी नहीं है, कुछ और संस्थाएं भी कर रही हैं और बहुत काम भारत में हो रहा है। और मैं तो कहती हूँ कि मानवाधिकार संस्थाओं की बहुत जरूरत है। ये समाज को आईना दिखाती है, सरकारों को आईना दिखाती है ताकि सुधार किया जा सके। क्योंकि अगर हम 2022 में भी मानवाधिकारों की बात नहीं करेंगे और वो पुराने 18 से 31 और कब के चले हुए वो सारे नियमों को लेकर चलते रहेंगे तो कब सुधार होगा? ये आवाज जब उठेगी तो सुधार होगा। जी,
थैंक यू।